Welcome back to my YouTube channel, that is Dr. Pooja's Gynepedia. In my previous videos, I have discussed about some basic topics like menstruation and physiological changes in uterus, cervix, vagina, breast and skin. Today I am going to discuss hematological, metabolic and systemic changes. Let's start with the hematological changes. There is increase in the plasma volume by 40 to 50%, increase in blood volume by 30 to 40%, and there is increase in the RBC mass by 20 to 30%. But there is plasma volume increase more than RBC mass, which will lead to relative hemodilution. It starts at 6 weeks of gestation and reaches maximum up to 32 weeks of gestation. But there is one condition where instead of hemodilution, hemoconcentration is there, and that is preeclampsia. This relative hemodilution will lead to physiological anemia of pregnancy. In this, HP concentration decreases from 12 to 10 gram per deciliter. What is the advantage of physiological anemia of pregnancy? This will decrease the viscosity of the blood, which will maintain the flowing nature of the blood and required for optimum gas exchange between mother and fetus. It also protects from the blood loss effects. Let's understand via this diagram. As you can see, there is one blood sample with hemoconcentration and one with hemodilution. If there is 500 ml blood loss during delivery, there will be less loss of RBC and it will be better tolerated by hemodilution mother than hemoconcentrated mother. To prevent the anemia, we should check the HP of the mother at first visit and thereafter every trimester. Due to relative hemodilution, mother will be able to meet the demands of a large uterus, provide nutrients to fetus and placenta, and it will protect mother and fetus from the effect of blood loss and hypotension in supine position. If we discuss about the blood parameters, there will be increase in total hemoglobin, but there will be decrease in hemoglobin concentration by 2 gram per deciliter. There is decrease in the erythropoietin secretion, leads to increase in retic count by 2%. Decrease in hematocrit and packed cell volume will be there. Due to increased consumption of the iron, serum iron and ferritin will be decreased. But to maintain adequate absorption, we need to increase the transport of iron. And this will lead to increase in the total iron binding capacity. Let's discuss about some indices. Due to increase in erythropoietin, new RBC or younger RBC will form and they are larger than the older RBCs. And due to this, increase in MCV will be there. But every RBC is adequately hemoglobinized, therefore there will be no change in MCHC. Leukocytosis or increase in WBC count till 10 to 15,000 is normal. There is increase in CD8, neutrophil count and T helper 2 cells. Decrease in T helper 1 cells will lead to increase in the flare up of SLE or TB. But there is decrease in the rheumatoid arthritis in pregnancy. Total plasma protein as well as globulin increases, but plasma protein concentration decreases, and due to increase in globulin, there is decrease in albumin to globulin ratio. As you know, pregnancy is a hypercoagulable state. What does it mean? It means all coagulation factor will increase except 11 and 13. There is increase in fibrinogen by 50%, which will lead to increase in ESR from 10 to 40. There will be decrease in platelet count, PT and APTT, and there will be no change in BT and CT. So what advantage will gain from this hypercoagulable state? After placental separation, it will help in stop the bleeding. But there is one disadvantage as it increases the chances of deep vein thrombosis and pulmonary embolism by 5 to 6 times. In metabolic changes, there is increase in the basal metabolic rate of pregnant women by 30%. Let's discuss them separately. First, we will discuss about carbohydrate metabolism. There is hypertrophy and hyperplasia of beta cells of pancreas of mother. This will lead to increase in the insulin secretion, and this will lead to decrease in the utilization of glucose by mother cells, and excess of glucose will be diverted to fetus. Estrogen, progesterone and human placental lactogen, they act as insulin antagonist. This will lead to increase in the peripheral insulin resistance, leading to postprandial hyperglycemia, and excess glucose will be spared for fetus. Due to hormone cortisol, lipolysis or fat breakdown take place in third trimester. There will be increase in free fatty acid, and this free fatty acid will become the main source of energy for mother, and glucose will be spared for fetus. As mother doesn't eat at night, but fetus will require glucose, so it extract glucose from the mother in night. Therefore, there will be fasting hypoglycemia in mother. In protein metabolism, there will be positive nitrogen balance throughout whole pregnancy. 500 gram gain by fetus and placenta, and 500 gram gain by maternal. There is gain of 3 to 4 kg of fat. This usually deposits around shoulder, breast, abdomen and hips. In calcium metabolism, there is increase in the requirement of calcium by the fetus to make a skeleton, and this is achieved by increase in the gut absorption of calcium of mother and increase in the vitamin D absorption, which will lead to increase in the vitamin D levels, which will lead to increase in the total calcium, and daily requirement is 1 to 1.5 gram per day. Now, iron metabolism, total requirement is 1000 milligram, which is further divided as 500 to RBC mass, 300 to GI loss, 200 to fetus and placenta. And if we talk about distribution, 10% or absorption, 10% is absorbed. In first half of pregnancy, 3 to 4 milligram per day is required, and in second half of pregnancy, 6 to 7 milligram per day is required. To meet this high demand, we will add iron supplemental tablets in second trimester. In water metabolism, total of about 6.5 liter is gained during pregnancy, and this occurs due to decrease in the osmotic threshold thirst of the mother, which will lead to drink her more water. There is decrease in the plasma osmolality by 10 milliosmoles per kg. Increase in the estrogen will activate the renin-angiotensinogen system in kidney, which will lead to water retention more than salt retention. And this whole condition will lead to physiological edema of legs and ankles, which will be of pitting nature and get relieved with rest. And this physiological edema occurs due to decrease in the protein concentration as well as venous pulling, and there is venous compression due to gravid uterus. If we discuss about the CVS changes, you can see in this picture as enlarging uterus will push the diaphragm up, which will lead to upward and left deviation of the heart. And this apex will shifted to fourth intercostal space 2.5 centimeter lateral to mid-clavicular line, and on X-ray there will be increase in the Silhouette, and this will lead to mild straightening of the left heart border. There will be increase in the pulmonary conus prominence and lung marking due to increase in the blood flow. On ECG, we can find left axis deviation and sinus tachycardia. On echo, there is increase in the ventricular mass, which will lead to increase in the end diastolic and end systolic volume. On auscultation, there will be increase in the sounds will be loud due to increase in the blood flow. Uh, there is exaggerated S1 splitting can be there. Presence of S3 can be there. Ejection systolic murmur up to grade 2. Hemodynamic or also called as memory murmur along pulmonary or aortic area can be there. Apart from this finding, if we find any other condition, that will be abnormal, like splitting of S2 sound, ejection systolic murmur more than grade 2, and any diastolic murmur or cardiomegaly. Let's discuss about cardiac output. There is increase in cardiac output by 40%. What is cardiac output? It is basically stroke volume into heart rate. It is 20% increase in 6 weeks of gestation, and 28 to 2 weeks it is 40%, and during labor in second stage it is 50% with each contraction. As you know, as when uterus contract, it tries to push back the blood into circulation. But if you ask when is the maximum cardiac output, that is 80% is during immediate after delivery. And if we discuss about blood pressure, there will be decrease in the blood pressure. What is blood pressure? Blood pressure is cardiac output into systemic vascular resistance. Fall in diastolic blood pressure is more than systolic blood pressure. And what are the reasons of decrease in systemic vascular resistance? Due to peripheral vasodilation caused by estrogen, progesterone, and nitric oxide. And let's understand this diagram, this picture. As you can see, this is pre-pregnancy BP, and during pregnancy BP is lowest during 24 to 26 weeks of gestation. Why this has happened? This happens due to maximum peripheral vasodilation, which will lead to dizziness or syncope in the patient, which is absolutely normal. It passes over a minute or some minute if we ask the patient to lie down in left lateral position. And one more clinical implication is pregnancy-induced hypertension, like preeclampsia gestational hypertension, appear after 20 weeks of gestation. And if raise in BP in first trimester is there, it is called chronic hypertension, means there was high BP before pregnancy also. Let's discuss about some respiratory changes. As you know, we never saw the patient she's breathing more or dyspneic. So respiratory rate remain the same. But to meet the increased oxygen demand, she need to take deep breaths or hyperventilate. And this can be possible if there is increase in tidal volume. So there is increase in tidal volume, increase in minute volume, and there is increase in inspiratory capacity. Let's understand via this diagram. As you can see, enlarging uterus will lift up the diaphragm for 4 centimeter, and it will lead to increase in the subcostal angle. This will restrict the thoracic cage, and the volume which remain after expiration, that is residual volume, it will decrease. Therefore expiratory reserve volume also decrease, and functional residual capacity also decreases. But total lung capacity and vital capacity remains the same. If we discuss about GI changes, progesterone will lead to relaxation of lower esophageal sphincter, which will lead to increase in the heartburn. And to treat this heartburn, we will ask the patient to avoid some spicy foods, or to avoid immediate lie down after having some meal, or to take some frequent meals. And there will be increase in the chances of constipation, as progesterone lead to decrease in the motility of intestine. There will be decrease in the gallbladder motility, leads to increase in the stone formation chances. And about gastric emptying, it totally remain unchanged in the pregnancy, but it increases in the labor. Therefore, we have asked the patient to take liquid diet. And in liver, there is increase in the alkaline phosphatase by 2 times. It is due to placental production of alkaline phosphatase. But due to hemodilation, there is will be decrease in serum bilirubin and AST and ALT. And if we discuss about renal changes, there will be increase in the kidney size by 1 centimeter, increase in the pelvic calyceal system, and there will be dilation of ureter called hydroureter. There is increase in the renal blood flow by 70%. This will lead to increase in the glomerular filtration rate by 30%. This will lead to increase excretion of protein called as proteinuria, increase creatinine clearance by 30%, glycosuria will be there. And some other reasons of glycosuria are increase in the glomerular filtration rate, decrease in the tubular reabsorption, as well as decrease in the renal threshold of the glucose. There will be increase in the urine output, which will lead to increase in the frequency of micturition and nighttime micturition called as nocturia. As due to increase in urine output and excretion, there will be decrease in the serum creatinine and uric acid. If someone asks what are the causes of UTI, number 1 is due to glycosuria, and second due to decrease in the motility of uterus due to progesterone relaxation of smooth muscles, which will lead to urinary stasis and favors the growth of bacteria. Most common is E. coli and leading to urinary tract infection. In first trimester, there is increase in the frequency of micturition. And in third trimester also. In third trimester, increase in frequency occurs due to decrease the capacity of bladder as well as relaxation of urethral sphincter. If we discuss about serum creatinine in pregnancy, normal range will be 0.5 to 0.7 milligram per deciliter. But if it is more than 0.9, it can indicate about renal disease, or if it is more than 1.1, patient may have preeclampsia. Musculoskeletal changes occur due to increase in the uterine enlargement. There will be lower back pain or lordosis, and there can be carpal tunnel syndrome and sciatica due to edema, and it will lead to compression of the nerves. And this is acid-base balance changes. Due to hyperventilation, there is increase in the CO2 washout, which will lead to decrease in the pressure of partial pressure of CO2, leading to respiratory alkalosis. But it is compensated by excretion of bicarbonate via kidneys. So we can say pregnancy is a respiratory alkalosis state. So there will be increase in pH, or it can remain same. There will be increase in the O2 consumption by 30 to 40 ml per minute, and there will be decrease in the PCO2 and bicarbonate. This was my topic on physiological changes in pregnancy part 2. Hope you liked this video, and please do subscribe my channel. Thank you.